Hey guys, I wanted to come on here and talk to you. I normally have a video for you guys on Tuesdays, and as you probably noticed, I didn't have a video for you yesterday. Yesterday was my very first day of actual work. So I went into orientation on Monday, and after orientation, I called my boss, and he said, I need you to come in today. And I was like, okay, I was not ready for that. And he goes, well, no, I need you to come in so I can kind of show you around the building. He goes, although you already know the building, but, you know, and then I'll give you also some uniforms to wear. I went into work yesterday, and it was awesome. Going in tomorrow, and I'm closing, so that'll be new too. I'm gonna bring in a notebook and I'm gonna take some notes because, like, I was surprised how quickly I caught on. I was proud of myself for how quickly I caught on, but at the same time, there were some things that I'm just like, I can't remember what was it I was supposed to do next. So it was all good. So I want to thank you guys for sending me like good vibes, positive comments, wishing me good luck. Like, it means a lot to me, and I really think that helped me out on my first day. And now I'm remembering that I need to write my family about my first day and update them a little bit. Not all of them watch my channel, which is totally fine. But, you know, I guess I'll tell you guys, and if my family watches it, then cool. So I was nervous going in, you know, like, this is the first time I've worked in 14 years, and I know to many that's like not a big deal. Like, I sit here and I feel like I'm making it bigger than what it is, and I have to like personally thank all of the friends in my real life for being so excited for me and so supportive, because this chapter is a big chapter for me in many ways. I'm grateful for all those friends who already work full-time jobs and whose spouses work full-time jobs as well, and who've been working for ever and ever, and here I come in with this, you know, this part-time job and are so excited for me. Like, that means the world. It really does. But so I was praying, whew, it is getting hot up in here. It's nice and cool outside, but not in a car. Like, I literally told the kids, hey, I'll be in the car doing a video because the lighting is better in here. Let's move this up a little bit, kind of blow it on my face a little bit. Do you guys ever have it where like the air conditioning will like dry out your contacts? So you have to like strategically place it so it's not like blowing like up in your eyes. So I have it like blowing right here. So, you know, I was praying on the way to the job, and I was like, oh, please, you know, help me get along well with the other coworkers, and help me to catch on fast. And I'm just praying and praying, and I feel like I get along well with most people, but there are people I don't get along with, and there are people that intimidate me, and it's just the nature of the beast. It's just how it is in this world, you know. Sometimes we get along great with people, and sometimes we don't, and I usually like to give people space, you know, but this is an environment that I will need to interact frequently with the people that are working with me, you know, and so it was just, you know, these are things that I was all considering. And so I get there, and there's a younger guy working behind the counter, a younger gal working behind the counter, and an older retired man working behind the counter. And the older retired man was like, well, I'll train you and I'll show you everything that needs to be done, because the guy that told me I needed to come in to get my uniforms, he's going to train me for closing tomorrow because he wasn't working yesterday. And this retired man was like so silly, but like really was an answer to like my prayers. Kindest man. He reminded me of my dad, but extroverted. My dad's an introvert. And like, he looked like my dad. He had the same eyes as my dad, like same height, same everything as my dad, but extroverted. And it was that comfort that I needed, you know. And it was just those little tender mercies, you know, that that remind me that I'm being looked out for and I'm doing the right thing, choosing this path. And I miss my dad. So, that's, you know, what happens when you move away from family. So moving on to the next thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, and that is my hair. And I wanted to thank you guys for all of your support when it came to my hair. I was not happy. Like, it was one of those moments where I was unhappy over the fact that I couldn't just let it go because it looked so bad. And I'm kicking myself, and I told a couple of friends this, I'm kicking myself for not having recorded like how bad my roots looked. So I got a video still that showed my roots, and I doctored the photo to make it look more true to how it was. And I'll insert that so you can see. But my roots were like gross yellow, and then I had a really pretty gingery kind of color, like my usual light ginger color, you know, for about 3 inches, you know, and then it was like ashy green. Do you remember, maybe it was just a trend here in the area, but do you remember when it was like cool to have like ashy blonde hair? Or maybe, again, maybe it was just in the area. I remember like noticing a lot of women who didn't want the red brownish kind of colors, and so they would go for a blonde, and I guess they'd go for an ashy blonde, and it would just turn green, and it would drive me nuts because I would sit next to them and I would just like look at their hair and go, oh my goodness, that is green. And it could be the lighting that we were sitting under. Yeah, so I was frustrated over the fact that I couldn't, that it wasn't salvageable. Like, my hair was not salvageable, especially knowing that I was gonna go into orientation on Monday. No. So I'm grateful for all, like, you guys, you had every moment to kick me down, kick me while I was down. And that was the risk I was taking in posting that video. That I could foresee many of you guys going, well, you are a fool, and maybe you should have thought about things a little bit more before doing things, and making like a mockery out of me. Like, I chanced that by putting that video up, and all of you guys gave me like positive feedback, told me you understood, told me you've had moments like that, and I want to formally thank you guys for being so kind. I think I'm heating up the back of my camera. But so there's another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about. I'm trying to see if I can get you guys in the shade a little bit. And I think we all have certain things in our lives that we can control because we just can. You know, and like, I love time. You know, I'm wearing a watch. I'm always checking my watch, and I'm always aware of time. You know, and so there are little things because, you know, being a mom of 3 and, you know, just with everything else having to take precedence in my life, having to, you know, there's a lot of things that you forego when you are a mom. And that was something I understood when I became a mom. So because I can't have things set a certain way, and for the most part I'm not super structured because I burn out, but I have found little things along the way that I hold on to as to give me confidence and to give me a sense of control. And I'm not a control freak. I think there is a huge difference between just things that you can hold on to that you can control and things and controlling everything. You know what I mean? And I never try to do anything to control others. That's like, no, like, nope, because everyone is their own free agent. So I can offer advice, but like, I can't control people. That's like, no. So I do things for my own control, for me, for my betterment, and because it makes me happy. And as you guys know, that's red hair, like keeping my hair red. I like it, it makes me happy, it's something I can control, and it's not hurting anyone, right? The same goes with diet and exercise. And I got a comment on my on my video that I posted 8 months ago in July talking about my new diet, and that is the keto diet. I wanted to talk a little bit about that, and I wanted to read the comment that was posted. And it said, "Get off the diet roller coaster. You are gonna burn yourself out. You describing your heart is what I would feel all the time. I was burnt out and eventually gained a lot of weight from dieting and exercising a lot." When she was talking, where the part where she says, "You describing your heart," it's really hot outside. Like this is like a magnifying glass. So the part where she says, "You describing your heart," I was talking about the HCG diet and how I knew I needed to quit doing the HCG diet because I was doing the HCG diet. Say that 5 times fast, really. The HCG diet. Hello, where's my light? I was doing the HCG diet every 12 to 18 months for 30 to 45 days. I would say closer to 30 days. And then I would maintain, and then I would go back to it when I felt like I needed to. Well, the last time I did it, I noticed it was giving me heart troubles. And I experienced a lot of stress back in the summer of 2015. And the stress was so intense and so hard, I remember feeling like my heart was beating underwater. And I remember feeling like I'm not okay and something isn't right. Which it wasn't right. I was under a lot of stress. And so I did the I did the HCG diet, and all those feelings came back. That feeling like my heart was beating underwater, and that like pressure around my heart, and it just did not feel okay. And I knew then that I needed to stop. But the HCG diet kept me clean and kept me strict, because I feel best when I eat good and when I eat healthy. Granted, I am a human being and I tend to get lax, and I end up eating a little more carbs, a little more sugars, a little more dairy, a little more chocolate, and all those things that will have me not feeling as good. To which then I go on the HCG forever cannot say that. Then I would go back on that diet and get strict again. But I realized, again, like I said, when I did the last round of HCG, that it needed to be my final round of HCG. I can't go chancing, throwing my heart back into that situation again. And that is when my friend mentioned that she and her husband in July were going to do the keto diet. And I think, was it like 2 weeks later or something, maybe 3 weeks later, I joined them and did the keto diet with them. Now, I was reminded of this from my friend Karen, whose channel, she has 2 channels. One channel is called Honestly Karen, and the other one is called Losing Karen. And I'm just going to give a little shout out to Karen. Hey Karen, I hope you're watching this. She is incredible, and I love her weight loss channel. And I love her determination and her like this insane amount of drive she has to keep going and to keep doing it, and how authentic she is. You know, for me, like, I try to sugarcoat things, and I'll pretend like things are going better than what they are, but she will be straight up honest with her weight loss channel. And I admire that so much in her. And so I'm going to link her stuff down below. I'm not kidding. If you want to find like someone, like if you find yourself struggling with diet and exercise, like I have done for years, you guys, like I want you to follow her channel, because like she is like the best person to watch, because she shows that like we are doing our best, right? you know, but sometimes we fail. And I love that she notes that, and she makes it better from that, you know, and she just strives for betterment. You know, I had an eating disorder in high school. I healed from that. I turned to food because food is what kept me alive, but food also is what helped suppress a lot of my feelings. You know, I gained weight from it, and then I went to diet pills and crash dieting and starving and all that stuff, thinking like I wanted that, I wanted to be as strict as I used to be with anorexia without being anorexic. And I wasn't getting that. And the diet pills totally ruined me. And this is where I had the burnout, where I just like almost surrendered to just not trying anymore. I didn't diet, I didn't exercise, I just couldn't do it. My emotions were too much that I could not do it. Because when you eat clean, you know, I think clean eating is good. I mean, in the sense that I think there's a lot of delicious, clean foods out there. There's no chemicals in it that give you those like that rise and that high, and will help you suppress those emotions. It's not the clean eating that's hard, it's having to face the emotions of eating clean. And so I understand the burnout and to just succumbing to life and to not feeling strong enough to face like your demons and your inner fears. I totally understand it. So I get, in the sense, the person that commented and said you're gonna burn out, because she's right. You know, if you don't do it the right way, you know, and if you don't take baby steps, this is why I'm all about the baby steps. If you don't take the baby steps, then you can very well burn out and fail. But again, use your own discernment. There's another gal I follow who is quitting cold turkey, and she says she works best doing that. So hey, you know what, you do you, then that's awesome. You know, some people do work best with quitting cold turkey. They can't do moderation. There are some things I cannot do in moderation at all, like Cadbury mini eggs. Are you for real? Every year it's a struggle to not buy a bag, but every year I don't buy one. And that is like, I cannot eat a Cadbury mini egg because I will end up spending the rest of Easter buying Cadbury mini eggs. So it's like you have to find where like you can do moderation and where you can't do moderation. The thing I guess that kind of bothered me about the comment is that, I'm not offended, like, but just kind of like bothered me a little bit, was how I felt like there was this just give up kind of tone to it. And the one thing I control is my diet and how I exercise. That is one thing that no one can, those are two things that no one can take from me. Oh, and in talking about Karen, my friend Karen, who has the 2 YouTube channels, she did a video recently about intuitive eating, and it reminded me that what I do is my diet is the keto diet, but first and foremost is intuitive eating. And I remember mentioning this to my friend, you know, that does the keto diet with me, and she's very much more strict with the keto diet. I'm much more lax. There is a scripture from my church that we all know, and that is, you teach the people correct principles and then you let them govern for themselves. And that's how I feel about the keto diet, is I feel like this is a correct principle for me and for my life, and then I can govern how I go about with this diet. For instance, I haven't been able to sleep for the past 3 nights. I thought it was originally because I was stressing out about orientation, but I don't know. I don't know what it is, if it's some, you know, the new moon's coming up, but like, I'm not fazed by the new moon. So when I go without sleep for a while, sometimes it like, I can feel my body just like shutting down and getting sick. So yesterday, for instance, forget about the keto diet. What is number one is me and my health. And so what I did was I ate intuitively. I think if you tie intuitive eating to your diets, you will be okay and you won't burn out. You know, and when it comes to exercising, I again think that's all baby steps. Yeah, you're gonna burn out if you're like, hey, I'm gonna start doing this, you know, routine and this and this and this because I can do it. You know, and we have the best of intentions, and within us we can do it all, but if we overload us, we're not gonna want to do it all anymore, and then we look at it all as being nothing but garbage, so we then let go of all, when if we just took baby steps, we would have more control, and I think we would feel better in the long run. I'll have friends come to me and they'll tell me, you know, I don't know what's wrong with me. I've tried this diet, I've tried that diet, I've tried that diet, I've tried that diet, I've tried doing this, I've tried exercise, I've tried this and this and this, and I just can't. And they are in that burnout mode, but they're frustrated that they are in this burnout mode. The reason I got into burnout mode was because I was doing things incorrectly. And I guess that's why I'm such a huge proponent on baby steps. Because I really wanted to be fit, and I really wanted to not feel so winded, you know? Like, I remember my kids would like run around the playground, and then I'd find one running for the street, and I would like try to run, and like I couldn't, because it was just, I was so winded because my heart wasn't strong enough. But being like, you know, praying and going, dear Lord, please don't have somebody pull out, you know, some car pull out and hit my child. For me, it had to be baby steps. I had to be gentle on myself. And the baby steps were much easier. Granted, it takes a longer time, but here I am coming on 7 years of this, and I'm doing okay. Yeah, I've changed my diet around kind of a bit, but I'm really happy with this diet that I'm on right now. And I don't foresee myself going off of it anytime soon. This is something that I can do easily now, and I do allow myself cheat meals because, you know, macaroni and cheese still exists, as well as chocolate. I think we get too hard on ourselves, and, you know, how many times, like, is there a limit to the amount of chances that we can have in this life? No. Especially when it comes to our health, you know? And granted, I don't think that should be a way out of dieting and exercising where you're like, oh, I tried it for a day and failed, next. I don't think so. I think we should put in our 100%, you know? We only have this life and this body, you know? And granted, I would love to spend the whole day enjoying it, eating pizza and, you know, drinking chocolate milk all day long, but you eventually will reach a point where the healthy eating feels better than the unhealthy eating. I don't know, I guess my question back to this lady is, why are you letting a burnout stop you? And have you tried everything before reaching this burnout? And I think the one thing that we cannot burn out on is our health. It makes me sad. And I mean like sad. When someone chooses to put their health on the back burner. Your health should never be something you should burn out on. And that's why I'm coming to you guys telling, hey, you know what? Why don't you take baby steps and take it a day at a time? You know, think of like how long it took for you to reach this weight. The chances of it falling off in 30 days is probably slim. That doesn't mean you should give up though. That means you freaking get started right now and you work on it, right? And there are many diet programs out there. I always say try counting calories first before you go cutting out the sugar and cutting out the carbs and cutting out whatever, like unless there's a food allergy, you know? And that was another thing I thought too when this comment showed up. I was like, well, what about those who have food allergies but who love the food that they're allergic to? Like, I'm sure they have moments where they are burned out, but they keep going because if they decide to cave and eat that thing which they are allergic to, that could hurt them. That could do terrible damage. It's not easy, you know, to eat healthy and eat right, especially for the first little while. You know, and especially when your body is used to all of the unhealthy foods and you're sitting there thinking, You know, like, what is my body telling me? My body is upset. All these kind of things, because your body's going through an adjustment, and your body's going through detox, and your body's trying to recalibrate itself, you know, and there's a quote that says, if there's a will, there's a way, and if not, there's an excuse. And I remember, like, I have had many friends come to me in the past many years and tell me, you know, oh, it just stinks, I can't lose weight because of my hips. My hips can't go back to where they were in high school. That's a lie. At least it was for me. Have you seen my before and after picture? If only I could show you where my hips were, my hip bones were from my before picture, and where my hip bones are now. I remember losing weight and feeling my hip bones being put back into place. It hurts. I'm not gonna lie. It hurts. Do not use excuses and say, hey, I can't lose the weight because of this, or I'm burned out because of this, or I've tried everything and it didn't work, so I shouldn't. You know, this is your health. You have people in your life who rely on you. That's another thing too. Whether you know it or not, there's people who rely on you in many ways. And there are people who need you that you might not even know right now. And why not be your best self and be at optimal health so that you can continue living and continue being there for those who need you right now and in the future. So I guess if I were to reply to this comment, I would say thank you for the concern, and I'm sorry that dieting and exercising had you burn out and hasn't worked out for you. And I hope that you can find a lifestyle that can help you be where you want to be on your health journey. But for me, I'm not on a roller coaster, at least not anymore. I've been doing this diet for 8 months now. I am absolutely happy and loving it, but first and foremost comes intuitive eating. And I will continue to exercise every day. Well, I say every day, every weekday, until forever, because I have found happiness this way. And I'm really grateful that I have the gym and that I've reached a point now where I can get out of bed. It was hard, like, for a while, and I still have days where it's really hard to get out of bed, but I'm grateful that I can get out of bed and do it, that it's not as difficult as it used to be. And it's a work in progress. It's a constant work in progress, you know, and that's okay. Like, I have found beauty in being a work in progress and in being a student in this life, and to be open to the fact that I don't know everything, and that because I don't know everything, I'm willing to learn, and I'm willing to learn from many people and from my own experiences. And yeah, I think that's everything. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.